In this episode, I talk with Warren Johnson, the owner of Jono's Boxing Gym in Guildford. Warren has been a boxer for many years and a really good friend of mine. Warren goes into detail about his boxing history and his experience also as a secondary school teacher. For more information, please check out the links below and feel free to leave a comment or send me an email. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah.
Tell me, how long have you been training for?
Look, I guess as a young guy, I started boxing when I was about 16. My dad took me to, and you know, I sort of trained for several years. And I sort of gave it away, or sort of stepped back from it. I took another path in life. And when I was at Delaney College, because in my second year, there was a guy that asked me if I could teach him boxing. I goes, okay, I'm fine. And from there, I sort of got involved with Sid's gym, and I sort of helped him sort of train some of the fighters, boxers, and it was from there that I sort of took it to the next level. And for a couple of years there, I sort of ran a boxing class. About 2006, I came over to Craig Haywood, the Combat Zone, and we were over in number 3. This is number 5 where we are now, and I sort of ran the boxing there for about something close to about 10 years. 2016, Craig says, look, this place here is up for not auction, but for lease. And he said, what do you think, Warren? And I goes, well, hey, sounds a good idea. Personally, I was hoping I was going to forget about it because I like number 3.
Yeah.
And anyway, 2 weeks later, he came and goes, Warren, where's the lease? And I goes, shit, what are we going to do? Because twice the space, twice the rent. But people just came. I thought, I prayed to God. I goes, God, help me, and people just came. And from then, it's just grown and grown. Sort of level by level. If you could use the word exponentially. But so all up, it's certainly a good part of my life. I guess I've been involved in the different elements of boxing.
So why boxing? Why not, for example, wrestling or karate? What was it that kept you in boxing?
Okay, I'll probably answer that question. When I was about 12, I did karate, and with a couple of mates of mine, Basil Gura, who was a great fighter, I believe. He and I and a couple of others, Macca was another guy in McDonald. We went down to a place in Broadmeadow in Newcastle, and we did karate there for about a year and a half. In hindsight, I wish I would have kept it up, but for whatever reason, as a young guy, I think I was about 13, I sort of, I left it and basically didn't wasn't involved in sport. When I left school, I thought to myself, I said to my dad, I said, look, I want to do boxing. And I guess to answer your question, why? The grandfather and his brother, they were boxers in an age where I guess everyone boxed, and he used to talk about it, tell me stories and that about when he was a young guy. And I guess on another level, I found it a challenge. Because I guess in football we've got 12 other mates to sort of help you out. In boxing, it's a different type of a challenge, both physically and mentally.
You're on your own in the ring.
Yeah, literally. You can't call on your dad or your mum.
Would you say it's a physical challenge or a mental challenge?
It's both really, but I think primarily or fundamentally it's a mental challenge because you've got to push through physical barriers, which requires a degree of mental strength and a degree of mental toughness.
Where do you think that mental toughness comes from?
It's like, if you want to frame it around the word, another question, where do you get resiliency from? I think it's a bit of something you're born with. It's an innate quality, and yet it's something you also learn. I look at my parents, particularly Dad, my grandfather. They had a sense or a degree of toughness about them. They stick at something. They wouldn't give up. And I also think it's something you learn from the environment. I think of some of the guys that I'm up playing with, Basil Gura being one of them, Reggie Jarvis, another guy, Wayne Whistler Lawrence, and they're guys I train with and up in Newcastle, and from that I think when you interact with people, you take a part of their spirit rubs off on you. Those guys sort of lifted me, and hopefully I lifted them to another level in terms of mental strength or physical toughness.
Do you feel that boxing, in a sense, is different from any other type of combat sport because of that? Or would you say that boxing is different because it offers students something else?
I think all martial arts, because it's whether it's karate or judo, Filipino stick fighting, taekwondo, there's that element where it's just a one-on-one combat situation, and I think right across there, those martial arts or those fighting arts, we sort of all cross the, we all meet each other across the ring. And in that sense, I think we're all the same. Boxing, of course, you can only use your hands, whereas with karate, that you've got hands and feet, and I guess other disciplines have got elbows and knees, etc.
Yeah. What would you say your highlight of your boxing career has been?
In terms of training, I can't sort of narrow it down to one specific event. It's, I guess, a combination of events or experiences. The training of the guys here, day in and day out. The interaction with the guys, with Gary Reynolds being a good example. Sort of coach. Gary's been with me from day, literally from day one. You've got other trainers here, Zach, Jack Edwards, Jose, of course. He's quite a popular trainer, and those guys. Going back a little bit, Jack Hardman was, he was a really important part of this team. We had a good number of fights under us guys. The other thing I've drawn a lot of benefit from is and knowledge from is being a judge and a referee, and I think the longer you're in, whether training or judging or refereeing, you'll never stop learning. Never stop learning. And I think of a guy who was probably not in the sport at the moment, Steve Ryan. Steve is a wonderful guy, and he taught me so many lessons about being hopefully a good judge, a good referee, and a good person. Stuff that I still carry with me today and try to, if you like to say, bring to, I guess, when I'm judging, reffing, or situations outside of the ring.
Do you feel that with boxing, or maybe any other type of martial art you've had experience with, that if a person comes to learn, they can be a good seed and stay good? Or do you feel that, for example, if someone comes along and they're not quite a good character, that it actually brings out the worst in them?
It's a good question. I haven't experienced that. I think it gets back to the coach. It gets back to the coach. You know, excuse the French, you're a dickhead. You know, the bottom line is, you know, you're going to have dickhead fighters. And a guy called Joel Davis basically said that same thing. You know, if you're a good guy, you know, good people are attracted to you. If you're a bit of an edgy type of character, and I've had people like that come into the gym, you know, they realise after a while, you know, it's a place for them where they can build upon their strengths and, you know, sort of challenge their weaknesses, or they walk. I say to people, I goes, you know, if you're a good person, you know, this is hopefully a place for you where you can become not just a good person, but, you know, a better boxer, fighter. If you're not, we're not going to feed you either. We're not going to feed you either, and that's the bottom line. And those people will work it out pretty quickly, and you know, they'll do a walk. Give you an example. There was one time there was a guy who'd come. This is several years ago, and he got out of prison, and I could tell him. You know, they had that sort of that sort of hard
chip on their shoulders.
Chip on their shoulders. There was there's an attitude. You just sort of pick it up pretty quickly, and I thought, this guy's been inside. And I didn't like his attitude, and I was going to ask him to leave, and interestingly, I prayed about it. And somehow, maybe through prayer or his interaction here amongst the guys, I got to know him a bit better. He started to open up. He was a reasonably good guy. He told me he'd made some mistakes, and he was committed to, he was married, he was a kid, and he wanted to try and make a better go at life, because he realised, being in jail wasn't the best place for him. So, yeah, that's a sort of...
So, you prayed about it. Have you found that your faith has helped your boxing, or rather your boxing has helped your faith?
Both, I think, in some ways. I guess not something that I get up here and I start preaching to people, because I don't really think this is probably the place to do it. People want to have sort of one-on-one conversation, that's fine. And some guys I know here are very strong in their faith, and others aren't. And I think, and you've got to, I've got to sort of, I'm aware of that. I think if you're going to preach the gospel, I guess, using examples of Francis, you do it through your words, your good words and your actions. But going back, I think hopefully faith gives you a perspective to look at the guys and the girls that come into the gym through a different lens, and to see life, through a different lens as well. And on reflection on has boxing helped my faith, that's a good question. It's a good question, and something I'd probably have to give a lot more thought to. But if it's helped me to see people in a better light, be a little bit more disciplined and focused, maybe to fast a little bit more. I guess, yeah. Fine. That's there are some ways that's benefit or help my faith grow.
How about with the guys and girls that you teach? Do you find that people who consider themselves to be religious or faithful would tend to perform better? Would you say that?
Not necessarily. I think it's an aspect there that can help them, to achieve or perform at it sort of adds another dimension to their athleticism or their training. But I think it gets down to that internal quality called, and I guess a lot of resiliency, and that I think not everyone that comes in, everyone comes into this gym with, I guess, a box of skills. And some guys are very, very skilled, and some girls are very skilled. And I think unless they've got that mental attitude, a strong mental attitude says, I'm going to keep on working at it, working at my craft. There's only so far these guys can get. There's guys, people who come here with, if you like to say, half a toolbox. But sometimes, just through their strength of character, they've been able to achieve a lot more than someone who has come in here literally with, skills or abilities, just popping out of their ears, but they haven't got that, they haven't worked on their craft. And there's a lot of people like that. A lot of them, sort of come across throughout the years. So hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, definitely. Would you say that in your time in boxing, there's been a moment that you could say, this is what I've worked for, this is what I've wanted to see, this is what I've wanted to produce? Is there a moment that you could be really proud of and say, thank God I've stuck it out this far because what I've just witnessed now is what I've worked for this whole time?
Specifically, no. If anything, I could just say, look at this gym. Look at this gym. There's three of us involved in this. Master Craig Hayward, who does the Filipino stick fighting jiu-jitsu. Master Chris Barnes, who does the Taekwondo and the grappling. And of course myself, who does the boxing. Now, this is, if you like to say, a product of our hard work. And I look at this and I go, well, this is something I'm proud of. This is something that, as a young guy, I could not have even dreamed of. I didn't even have it in me, if you like to say, the radar of my, or imagination of my dreams. Yes, all of what we've got here. That's, for me, that's, not to say a dream come true, and, a testament to, the sort of hard work that, I put in and the guys put into it here. It's just, I'll say it's just not me. I've got my name out the front, Jono's Boxing Gym, but it's a combination, it's a team of guys. As I said, Gary, Zach, Jose, of course, Jack Edwards, and I guess all the other guys and the girls that have, been part of this ongoing collaboration, ongoing exercise in developing hopefully good fighters, boxers, smart boxers, and better people.
During the day, your other love, of course, is teaching.
Yep.
Now, many teachers that I've spoken to all told me the same thing, which is it's not an easy job. How do you find the soft skills that you've learned here in boxing have helped you in your profession being teaching?
Good question. I remember Steve Ryan said to me once, he goes, your attitude, if you're angry, people pick up on that. If you're, if you like to say, calm and measured in responses, people respond to that as well. And I think what I've learned here, and as I said through Steve, and that, I've tried to apply it to my teaching in terms of managing some difficult characters in the classroom and trying to understand this as best as I could. I don't get it right all the time, no one does. Sometimes you lose your cool with some kids. Wish you probably, looking back in hindsight, I could have done it a better way. I think when I initially started teaching many years ago, I used to yell at the top of my voice, and I'm thinking, hey, that ain't a smart strategy. It might get them quiet for a little while, but after a while, you're just getting yourself stressed out. So, I guess through experience and age, I've acquired some wisdom.
Do you feel you've mellowed out?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, age sort of does that too. I'm not a. Someone says, "Would you like to be young again?" And I goes, "No, I don't want to be 21, 22, 23, 24 again. There's no way. I'm not going to go back and tell you sometimes what maybe a naughty boy I was.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go down that track. But thank God. I'm 61 now. I'm happy being where I am now. Mentally, spiritually. Physically, I'll never be what I was when I was 22, 24. I'll never be that super fit. But just in terms of mentally and spiritually, I'm in a much better place.
So how does that translate into you working with students? For example, if you were to have a new person walk through the door and say, why should I train here? What would you tell them? What's something that you can give them that no one else can give them?
What I say to guys, I says, guys, I don't set myself up as better than other people, and that's part of my character. Well, I don't probably underplay myself. I don't overplay myself. Maybe some people say I underplay myself, but I say, guys, this is a good place for you if you want to learn a bit about boxing. Developing to become a better boxer, this might be a good place for you. And I go through, and tell them exactly what we do on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday in terms of strength and conditioning, skill development, sparring, pad work, and all that. Tell them about, the team we've got here, and I say, come down, try us out, see whether that's a good fit for you. If it is, good and fine, God bless you. If it isn't, good and fine, God bless you too.
So, has anyone come to you to say, Warren, I'm really scared of throwing a punch and I'm really scared of getting hit? And if they have, what have you told them?
That's come at me, in a number of ways. But parents have come, says, we don't want our son or daughter, to be in the line of fire. And I goes, that's fine. I understand that. I goes because there's in terms of sparring, particularly open sparring, there's only a couple of guys here who are skilled enough to do it. Most of the people aren't. And we take you through a process of skill development where you do a lot of practice sparring in terms of movement with your feet, blocking, throwing punches at a level which is probably 40-50% before you can sort of up that ante. And it might take people a year, 2, 3 years. And if someone is would like to spar and particularly young, but what I usually do, I put them in with the older guys who as opposed to a younger guy, because sometimes these younger guys start sort of hitting each other, and then the next thing, all hell breaks loose. But what I get them with the older guys, more mature, and know how to handle these sort of, the younger guys, power and aggression. And also say to the mums and dads, I guess, look, you've got to wear a mouth guard, a protective gear. I'm not paying for you to go on. So,
do you think that parents specifically who come out and say, I want my son or daughter to learn boxing, but I don't want them to get hit, are naive? Because from what I know about any type of combat sport, martial art, martial discipline, whatever it may be, if you've already started with the thought in your head that you don't want to get hit, that you may as well forget anything you want to do in terms of training, because it's a part of life.
It is. We've got to take the hits physically or otherwise, aren't we?
That's
so
right.
We've got to develop some type of skills, whether that's physical skills or mental skills, to sort of deflect or block those things. Yeah, I'd say they would. And I guess certainly hits the head, is one thing. But I think people can take reasonable hits to the body without there being sort of some type of injury, depending upon who the person is on the other side hitting too.
Do you think that there's a way to get over that, even for those who are really adamant that they believe they won't get hit?
I'd probably go back to my own experience and go, well, it's just when I first started boxing, I wasn't necessarily a good experience of boxing because they threw me in the ring. The guy threw me in the ring and I got the Jesus beaten out of me there for a little while. And I thought, this is no way to teach, young guys, because I didn't know how to put my hands up, how to block, how to move, anything. And I had left, and then I came back. I thought, okay, I'm going to try and master this situation. But answering your question, I think through perseverance and just staying, if you like to say, in the ring, to realise, the longer I'm here, I'm developing skills and abilities to, to take the shots, and also deflect, move away, perhaps counter the shots as well.
So over the years, with the number of students that you've taught, have you found that some have come back to you and say, Warren, thanks to you, I was able to handle this situation at work a little bit better? Or Warren, thanks to you and your training methods, I was able to handle this situation at home better. Do you find that those soft skills are there, and that because of them being here and throwing the punches at these bags, they're able to handle confrontation or obstacles a lot better than those, for example, who've never even put a pair of gloves on?
It's a help, and I think it's a good help. It's a good, if I like to say, if anything, it's good stress relief. There's been instances there where people, even recent times, people have come back and said, thank you. This is, boxing's given me an avenue to work through some of my issues, some of my frustrations, and if need be, to walk away from situations where it could have led to serious consequences. I'm not going to mention to
Have you felt that your time in boxing has been? Have you felt that it's been something you've done to the fullest of your abilities, or have you felt that personally you've got room for lots more development? And if so, where would that development take you?
There's always room for improvement, and I said to the guys, he says, the longer you're in boxing, the more you realise there's so much more to learn. In terms of, I guess, future development, I'd like to see a number of these guys, get involved in competition, amateur competition, maybe some professional competition somewhere down the track. And I think there's two guys here at the moment, Zach and Aaron, who are going through a process of learning to become judges, boxing judges, and hopefully referees. And I'd like to see a couple more guys do that as well. So the gym offers a pathway for guys who want to get involved in competition, as well as guys who like to officiate, or both. And I guess you've got also that those people in between who just come here just for fitness, develop their confidence, maybe a bit of stress relief, hit my head in the bag, kill someone else.
Is there a Warren Johnson way of doing boxing?
Yeah, maybe. If you know, I'm quite a technical guy. You know, in terms of this is the way you stand, this is the way you throw punches. And when I see, I'll give you a good example. George Fashion, who had come to the gym for quite a while, and I remember him telling his brother. In fact, his brother told me the story. He said one night I was asleep, and all of a sudden I heard George going bang, 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 and he goes, George, what are you doing? He goes, Jono said my jab shit. So anyway, look, long story short, George ended up having, probably the best chat in the gym. But going back, I think if it needs to be technically really good, maybe I'll sort of put my tip to that. But I think all the guys here, like Harry in particular, Jose, and the other trainers, we're all adding to, if you like to say, the development of the guys and the girls here in terms of becoming better boxers, and of course better people as well. And no one person, myself included, has the whole gamut of skills. I don't. I need other people, and hopefully they need me as well.
So you feel that really the development of boxing is always going to rest on the younger generation?
Yeah, it's a bit like the church, I guess, yeah. I'd like to say that, yeah. That's where the next, if you like to say, learning, or the great trainers and the fighters are going to come from, yeah. For sure.
If you could go forward 100 years and look at this place, what would you want it to look like? What would the type of people be that are here? Would they be the same type of people? Would they be people that are here for different reasons, perhaps?
It's going to be interesting to see what Australia's like in 100 years. I would imagine, to be just like it is now, just a mixture of people from all over the world, people who come here for all different types of reasons, whether, confidence or lack of confidence, skill development. They want to be boxers stepping inside the ring. In terms of the physical space, I think we've spoken about that before. Maybe a newer type of gym, maybe a bigger type of gym. Maybe that's Mark III for the combat zone. But in 100 years from now, it's going to be interesting to see what the environment, if you like to say, of a boxing gym will look like.
Do you feel that boxing is increasing or declining in popularity?
Probably increasing. I think it is increasing. Certainly in some countries it isn't. I say here it is, through given the interest in even people, sort of just doing boxercise in the parks or at the gyms, coming here, as an example, like on Monday, we were 28 guys here. Great. That was our best opening day for the year ever. So that's a good indication, as well as, I guess, people, when the really big fights happen, people come out of the woodwork to watch them. There's something special when two guys at an elite level, particularly if they're heavyweight or middleweights, which are the premier divisions. When those guys fight, everyone's watching. And I think maybe too, why people get so emotionally involved in it is because they see a part of themselves and these guys as well.
So you feel that these elite level fighters are really the beacons for people, or the beacons for people to want to join in?
I think that's part of it. I think that's part of it, like a Muhammad Ali or, he's Roy Jones. And so someone asked Roy Jones, he says, who's the greatest boxer fighter you ever seen? He goes, Muhammad Ali, both in the ring and outside the ring. Because you know what, he impacted, he changed so many things inside the ring, but outside the ring, his impact upon so many issues and levels in society, which something we can't measure. He was bigger than boxing.
Do you think that was him, or do you think that was him because of boxing?
I think he used boxing as a vehicle, and then I think these other things started to come on, and he started to realise that perhaps, he's more than boxing, and those things, and I guess he used the boxing as that vehicle to bring a lot of these issues to more so to public attention that what may well have been if he would have just said, hey, I'm just a boxer, I'm just going to box, and that's it. And I think all those decisions he made and all those people he met and all those influences in life, created in this one person called Muhammad Ali quite an extraordinary human being. I said to someone, I think he's a once in 100-year individual. I don't think we'll see the like of him again.
Do you think that if someone like Muhammad Ali can do something, they should do something?
Yeah, of course. Of course, it'll make a difference. And that's hard sometimes. That's hard. I'll go talk about my faith. One of the teachers at work, she said, every year I have a saying for the year. And I've taken a bit of that, if you like to say, that tradition on. And I think, and I said to Natalie, and that's Natalie, and I said, last year it was a guy called San Giuseppe Mascati. He made a difference in the lives of so many people. This year it's a man called Blessed Franz Jagastata. You're thinking, who the hell is this guy? I'm correct, yeah. Maybe read up on him. But he was a guy that stood up and said no to Hitler. And of course, that no meant that he was executed. In fact, he was guillotined. But he's a guy that stood up and said no. He had moral character and a moral strength. And I thought, geez, I wish I could have just a little bit of that. So to go back to your question about Muhammad Ali, I think we should stand up, and particularly for what's right in the world, as opposed to what's wrong.
I've been of the opinion of late that moral character, or rather tenacity, comes from learning how to get hit, learning how to deal with getting punched in the face, learning how to cop a body shot.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, to a degree, yeah.
It's not the only way for sure, but I think that for a group of people that can have that affinity with combat sports or martial arts or self-defense, really, for them it's the way that they learn how to deal with problems. And I think that learning how to take a setback, being a hit, punch, or a kick, will actually teach someone how to move forward.
I think so. I think so for certain people. It'll develop, if you like to say that. They'll transfer that into a life situation, experience. You don't want to take too many hits, but But I agree with that. Yeah, I think put them in that situation, and it'll sort of, if you like to say, reapply, or they can applicate that to perhaps a work situation or a relationship situation. That's where they're being bullied, they have to stand up for themselves. Yeah, I agree with that.
Being a teacher, no doubt you would hear of lots of instances where kids would get bullied at school. You also got the benefit of another perspective being a boxing trainer. Do you find that in your total experience as a teacher and a boxing trainer, you've been able to look at the schoolyard and say, the schoolyard has now become more violent than what it was, or it's now become more tame than what it was?
I think it's always been the same to a degree. I remember when I was at school in Newcastle, Broadmeadow High, there were fights breaking out, and sometimes the teachers didn't know, and I'm sure it's the same at Delaney. There's times there where there's hardly any fights, and sometimes over a couple of weeks or whatever, there's a bit of pushing and barging and all that type of stuff. So I don't really think it's changed. Just like human beings probably haven't changed over the last couple of 100,000 years.
So Warren, tell me, if money wasn't a problem and if time wasn't an issue, how would you use your skills to change the world?
I try and change into. I think the bigger picture of the world is daunting for anyone, myself included. I do it just on a personal basis, and for me, how to change people, individual people, I think that is perhaps the way forward. And there they can change other people. And for me, obviously as a school teacher, that's one avenue. As a boxing trainer, here is another avenue. Hopefully for those through education and through boxing, training and that, the people become better people, confident people, and I guess develop that, what I would call that ability to be empathetic and also resilience. They get punched in the face and okay, I copped it. Says I'm going to learn from that. Maybe keep my hands up next time, or learn to dodge it. And he just sometimes getting hit, if you like to say, copping pain is part of life. And he says, listen, you learned there. Listen, don't lie down. Get up. Keep on walking.
Do you feel that men today, as opposed to 10 years ago, 20 years ago, behave differently in situations where it's a pressure situation or there's an obstacle in front of them or there's some sort of setback?
I guess I can only speak for myself. And I think it's just an individual thing. I don't know that you could sort of put, it's got greater, lesser, given time. I think one thing for guys these days, as opposed to my father's generation, if something was getting tough, they buried it deep down there, to their detriment. And I think these days, there's those, in terms of mental, physical, emotional health, there's those avenues there for people to probably better articulate or talk about their issues and their problems. But does that answer the question?
Yeah.
So,
okay. All right, Warren, well, thanks for your time.
Thank you, mate. I want to say another thing too. I think the other thing in terms of a bit of a game changer for boxing is the number of women who are becoming involved in boxing now. Because I think, give an example, Australian team. You know, the women are going better than the guys. Yeah. So that's opened up another, if you like to say, a river of people that are, or another group of people, half the population of this planet who have been involved in boxing. So yeah.
Great.
And I'll probably close too. I'd like to say, I've got to say something to my wife too, because she might be watching this. I love you, darling, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't without you. So I'll blow her a kiss. Probably cut that one out. Anyway, mate. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.